And good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome here as we get set for race number 21 of the season, the third season of the NCRA Hersheys Cup Series. We are, after tonight's race at Daytona, only going to have 5 more races until we're going to find out the 16 drivers that will be battling for this season's Hersheys Cup Series chase for the championship. And here at Daytona, this could be one of those wild card races where someone we might not necessarily expect could jump up into the championship picture. It could happen here tonight. Super speedways always seem to cater towards the driver that is struggling in the points, really needs a good run, or, an underdog driver that we might not necessarily consider. Look at Joshua Michaels lining up here on the pole position. Michaels, a 2-time winner in the Hersheys Cup Series, a win in Season 1 at Pocono, a win in Season 2 at Auto Club. He'd love to be able to pick up his 3rd win in his 3rd straight season here in the Hersheys Cup Series, going coast-to-coast pole to the victory. Alongside of him, T Dunham. T Dunham's actually been really consistent this season. Now, he did hit a bump in the road last week at Rockingham, dropped 5 spots in the standings down to 12th, but he's been in the top 10 in the point standings for the last 5, 6, 7 weeks. So T Dunham, Daytona, not really up there on the top of his list of his favorite tracks, but it could be tonight if he can find victory lane. Joshua Ciculli, former winner last season, trying to find his first win of Season 3 in the new colors of his Advanced Auto Parts Ford. And alongside of him, another driver that hasn't been to victory lane yet, J Shelton. A lot of drivers that could find victory lane. Let's get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
As there's command to fire him up, then you go a little bit further back where you find Levi McIntire completing your top 5. McIntyre hasn't been to victory lane since last season, race number 3 at Las Vegas. So a lot of drivers up here towards the front of the field, trying to find victory lane for the first time this season, put themselves in contention to get into the chase for the championship. Now, obviously, the last time we were here at Daytona was the Daytona 500. Winner of that race was S Gallighan. So we'll keep an eye on the 44 to see if he can go 2 for 2 in Daytona starts here in the Hersheys Cup Series. And as I take a look at the point standings, obviously the thing that we talk about the most is that danger zone area. Well, as far as the danger zone goes, the only driver right now that's really down around that danger zone spot is Benjamin Miles, who we see is going to be rolling off, it looks like about mid-pack in this race. Benjamin Miles, coming into this race, is 33rd in the point standings, and his win at Springfield, he needs to get himself up inside the top 30 in order for it to count towards a chase position. Right now, if I were to quickly do some calculations in my head, he is 10 points away from 30th in the point standings, and that spot right now, 30th in points, is currently held by Keith Batson. We also mentioned S Gallighan won the Daytona 500. Well, he is just barely above the cut line for 30th in the standings. He is right now 17 points ahead of that cut line, right now 27th in the standings. So he needs a good run here tonight, and we'll see if he can get it. Looks like he's going to be starting pretty close to the tail end of the field as well. So 32 laps of racing here tonight. And it'll be interesting to see if we have more lead changes in this one than we did in our Almond Joy Series race here last night, where we saw Kermika Jazin pretty much dominate that race and win his 3rd straight Almond Joy Series race. Hersheys Cup Series pace car makes the left-hand turn to pit road. And here we go. The Pepsi 400 tonight at Daytona International Speedway is green. Another thing that will definitely be a factor in this race that was not a factor in the Almond Joy Series race is we will have green flag pit stops. If this thing goes green, we will have, let's put it this way, we will have pit stops. As Michaels to the lead, Ciculli moves to 2nd, McIntyre moves to 3rd. That inside line obviously showing it's going to be the preferred line of the evening. And Ciculli going to drive to the inside for that position. Ciculli, if memory serves me correctly, I believe Ciculli was a 2-time winner last year. Let me look at real quickly at my stats here, and that is indeed the case. Yeah, Ciculli ended up winning at Martinsville and at Watkins Glen last season. He was a 2-time winner, but as I said, looking for his first win here of Season 3. And Ciculli coming into this race is 29th in the point standing. So not only would a win help him to, establish himself as possibly a contender in the chase this season, but also would help get him away from that 30th position in the point standings. Right now, as things stand, he comes into this race with only 14 points between him and 30th in the standings. Tim Walsh going to dive to the inside for the race lead. Anthony McCrury going for third off of K Llamas. Let's not forget that Anthony McCrury actually is a former winner here this season at Daytona, even though it was a non-points event. He won the Sprint Unlimited, did McCrury. And as things stand right now, all three, if you count that win for McCrury, all three of the chartered rides out of Seth Cole Baker Motorsports have wins at restrictor plate tracks. McCrury winning the Sprint Unlimited, Gallighan winning the week later at the 500, and Cole Baker has a win this season at Talladega. Starting to see the teammates starting to find each other there as one car here slow. That's Chris Dodd in the 88. Looks like he must have had to come to pit road for something here in the early stages of this race, and he's going to fall at least a lap down now. Boy, tough break there for the 88 car of Chris Dodd, the defending champion of the Hersheys Cup Series. Right now, things not looking good for him to be able to try and defend his title, as Ciculli going to go back for the lead. But I saw two of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars working together there, J Shelton and Charles Sandfer, and they've actually found their third teammate as well, K Mathews, one of the two drivers at this point that is pretty much locked into, well, actually I should say three drivers that are locked into this season's chase for the championship, provided they stay in the top 30 in the points. Mathews, K Tellier, and M Haas, the two-time winners so far this season in Hersheys Cup. And they see Chris Dodd, he is a lap down, but he's going to help push Joshua Ciculli to the front. And right now, Chris Dodd is currently scored one lap down. So if Chris Dodd can maybe get himself up here to the front of this pack, maybe get a caution flag, he'd be able to be back on the tail end of the lead lap. Also, if this thing goes into a long green flag run, Chris Dodd coming to pit road wouldn't have to pit as early as these other drivers would, and maybe he could get a caution flag that way as well. I don't know. Sorry if you hear some background noise. That's my dogs. They're playing. Anyway, Joshua Ciculli right now doing a good job holding on to the lead. And here comes Charles Sandfer on the bottom. Is anybody going to go down there with him? Yes, Anthony McCrury going to jump down there as he'll try and bypass the lap machine of Chris Dodd and set his sights on fellow Ford Fusion driver Joshua Ciculli for the race lead. Seeing the points leader, Cole Baker, starting to work his way up here towards the front, working with K Mathews. Let's not forget, K Mathews is a former Daytona 500 winner in his own right. He won the Daytona 500 back in Season 2. So K Mathews knows how to get it done at Daytona. No doubt about that. Cole Baker, of course, winning at Talladega. And here comes last week's winner, that number 11 FedEx Toyota, J Richardson. After his win last week at Rockingham, North Carolina, now he's starting to work his way to the front. Obviously, he'd love to be able to pick up a second win and all but confirm himself a spot in the chase for the championship. After his win last week at Rockingham, he moved up to 16th in the point standings. As here comes Charles Sandfer. Now, let's not forget Charles Sandfer, the run that he had last season. Charles Sandfer ended up having 3 total wins. 2 of those wins ended up coming, I believe, at Talladega. That is indeed the case. He won the first race at Dega. He won the second race at Dega, and he also had a win that season at Salem, a 3-time winner. Charles Sandfer this season, though, has a 0 in the win column. Obviously, he'd love to be able to find victory lane. Right now, only one of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars is officially locked into the chase, that being K Mathews. Last season, all 3 of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars were in the chase for the championship. Sandfer, Shelton, and Mathews. And right now, all 3 of them running up here inside the top 10. Sandfer to the lead. Mathews moves to second. There you see Shelton right now in a battle with K Llamas. That I believe would be for the 7th position. So all 3 of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars up here at the front, trying to get at least one of them to victory lane. Another driver that's actually very good here at restrictor plate racing is actually working his way up to the front as well. That yellow and black NXT number 3 of Michael Norman. Norman right now would be in the chase for the championship with where he's running, currently situated 23rd in the point stands with his win earlier on this season at the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. But Norman fighting his way up towards the front right now, battling with Cole Baker. Last time by, he was scored in the 10th position as it's Retro Racing Enterprises out in front 1 and 2. And then J Shelton right there in 4th. But now J Richardson, that Toyota Camry, trying to break up that trio. Starting to see also some drivers that had to race their way in via knockout qualifying starting to work their way to the front, namely the 96 of Johnny Gardner. And if memory serves me correctly, I think Johnny Gardner actually qualified for the Daytona 500 as well. So this is his second start of the season here at Daytona International Speedway. I don't rightly remember where Gardner... I think he finished in the top 5 actually in the 500. Let me actually look at that just to make sure, as Shelton keeps Sandfer out in front, at least for right now. And as I take a look here real quickly to find out, I think Gardner finished inside the top 5. And... Nope, okay, nope, I made a mistake. I actually thought that it was Gardner that made the 500. It was actually Chelsea Bowles. They both ran that same Rockstar paint scheme. Chelsea Bowles ended up finishing in 5th position in the 500. So, incorrect in that. This is actually Gardner's first start of the season at Daytona. As now Joshua Michaels, who started on the pole, has worked his way back up through the field after drifting back early on. He's back up to 2nd. Norman's in 3rd. And there's Keith Batson, who came in that critical 30th position in the point stands. Right now, he is in 4th. His teammate K Tellier, a 2-time winner this season, locked into the chase for the championship, pretty much. And Keith Batson would like to make it beat 2 of the KAB Racing Enterprises cars in the chase this season. Daytona 500 winner Sean Gallighan up here, but he just got stuck in the middle 3 wide with Johnny Gardner and Michael Norman. And there is rookie Jake Moss replacing Tripentakio Vernio. He's now made a race and looking really good right now. Last time by, scored in the 7th position, but there's still a long ways to go in this one. Let's actually take a look and see if anybody has lost the draft up to this point, as now Batson moves to 2nd, Gallighan into 3rd. Oh yeah, looks like some drivers have already lost the draft here. Dallas McIntosh, our Texas winner. Joseph Srigley, as well as Dylan Young, they're back here in a group of their own. Matt Haas has also lost the draft. And then there's a group up here of 5 race cars. Trent Dunham, who started on the outside of the front row. Daniel Voyles, Lee and Alvarise, Brandon Gonzalez, and James McLeod leading this group. And Cody Hagan right now, I believe, is the last car in this lead pack. And he, last time by, was scored in the 32nd position. Let's see what he was scored this time. Looks like he still is in 32nd place. So we got about roughly 9 cars that have lost the lead pack and are now out of the draft. Now they're going to have to hope that maybe they can get a caution to bunch them all back up here, preferably before the green flag pit stop set in. As Sean Gallighan to the point. K Tellier getting a big shove down low from Nathan Hudson. She's going to shoot into 2nd, heading into 3, passing Jake Moss. And Hudson now moves into 3rd place. Sandfer drifted back. He's now to 4th, and now Tim Walsh going to try and take 5th. There's our Eldora race winner, Emmanuel Hartnett, up in this group as well. Hartnett, I'll tell you what, this has been one of the best seasons he's had in Hersheys Cup Series. Hartnett now up to 7th in the point standings. And right now, as things are standing, looking very good to get himself locked up a chase spot within the next couple of weeks. As 3 wide, Charles Sandfer puts Hudson in the middle, Gallighan to the high side, and with the help of fellow Chevrolet Tim Walsh, Charles Sandfer goes back to the point. Certainly a much more interesting race, just personally in my opinion, than what we saw in the Almond Series race here last night. A lot more swapping for the lead. A lot more drivers being able to get the run on the leader to be able to make a move. Seemed like in our Almond Joy Series race here last night, nobody could even get to the leader's back bumper. And Hartnett trying to step out of line there on Walsh, but wasn't close enough. Had a good run, but Walsh took away that inside line there in the tri-oval. And now here comes Joshua Ciculli, trying to take the 3rd position away from Emmanuel Hartnett. Cody Llamas now up here in the mix as well. Florida native there in the 48 would love to win here in front of his home crowd. Whoa, he almost got cut off there by Emmanuel Hartnett, and looks like he tucks in behind the 97 though, but that was close. Cody Llamas, veteran wherewithal to let off the throttle and not run over that 97, and now the two of them slot into 4th and 5th, and now try and reel in the top 3 once again. And Ciculli jumps to the inside now on Tim Walsh, and he'll make it stick, gets to the left rear. Joshua Ciculli going to move to 2nd. Emmanuel Hartnett going to follow in the tire tracks into 3rd, and now Tim Walsh will begin the free fall, and now so will Sandfer as Ciculli gets a big run there into turn 1. Sandfer couldn't throw the block, and Joshua Ciculli goes back to the race lead. A lot of battling for the lead early on here. We haven't even reached the midway point of this race. John Andrews, that Fastenal number 17 Ford, one of the drivers that made it via knockout qualifying, up here now at the front. John Andrews already a winner this season in the Almond Joy Series, winning back at Arizona, but he would love to be able to pick up a Hersheys Cup Series win here as well. It would actually be his first career win. And I remember last season, too, John Andrews was a go-or-go-home driver in that 17 car out of Roush Fenway Racing, and at the time, second half of the season rolled around, he made a number of races, actually has some really good performances, so not a surprise to see him having a good run here, second half of the season here at Daytona. As Keith Batson now moves to the lead, a lot of drivers going to get some valuable bonus points for leading a lap here tonight. Up to this point, all 42 cars are still running, 41 of them on the lead lap. Chris Dodd, with some early issues, had to make a pit stop after we had gone green, and right now he is a lap down. You see him there just behind J Shelton. He's still in this lead pack, but he is off the lead lap. And we are about to, I believe, encounter some drivers very shortly that are on the tail end of the lead lap. Dallas McIntosh, Joseph Srigley, Dylan Young, all working together. They're trying to get around Matt Haas, who was running by himself for a moment. They are now exiting 2. Leaders are entering 1. So they may get caught pretty soon, whether it be before or after potential green flag pit stops. That I'm not sure about. Well, look at this. J Shelton moving to the inside, and Charles Sandfer, he tried to go down there to work with his teammate. Now he does. I think Shelton actually just let off a little bit to let Sandfer in line. Shelton could have stayed in the throttle, made it 3 wide to go for the lead here into 3. Blaine Keys now up here in the mix, and also Anthony McCrury. You got also another car there, another car that's actually had some good runs last couple of weeks. Last week was a little bit of an exception, and that's J Arndt in that Reddit number 05 Chevrolet. As it gets closer to the closing stages of this race, you're going to see a lot of faces that we haven't talked about yet in this race up to this point. Coming up towards the front, I'm starting to see Zach Flickinger. He's working his way up towards the front of the field. Benjamin Miles, J Baskinger. I mean, there's a whole host of drivers we have not yet talked about because we haven't seen them at the front. But that doesn't mean we're not going to see them when we get to about 10 to go, even into the 5 to go range. Charles Sandfer done a good job so far, though, out in front here. He's lost the lead a number of times, but then gained it back, and now he's got J Shelton, his teammate, in behind him. And now Shelton now going to get trapped on the outside line, Blaine Keys on the inside line. You got to wonder if it comes down between Sandfer and Shelton. I mean, neither one of them have gone to victory lane yet this season, and a win gives you a nice ticket into the chase for the championship. So if one's running first, one's running second, I don't think that one would be willing to push the other to the win if they are possibly able to make a move, which, you know, that's how it should be. Your teammates are your teammates unless it's the last lap, and then you both are competitors for that win. As now Anthony McCrury sticks Blaine Keys on the outside. McCrury trying to go for the second position. Dylan Young now the last car on the lead lap. Let's see what the difference is when they hit the stripe between them and the leader. They've hit the stripe now, and the leader's not too far behind him, but we're beginning our green flag pit stop cycle. Charles Sandfer, the race leader, coming to pit road. That turns the lead over to his teammate, J Shelton. So it looks like that group there on the tail end of the lead lap, they will not be caught before the cycle of green flag pit stops. So Sandfer came to pit road. A lot of others came with him. And now Shelton, who was kind of left all by herself because a lot of her drafting partners came to pit road that lap, now getting freight trained as Zach Flickinger goes to the point. But the question is, who out of this group is going to be coming to pit road? Got Johnny Gardner in this group, Richardson, Walsh, rookie Daniel Gilbert, John Andrews, and it looks like everybody else that didn't pit on the last lap, they're coming to pit road this time. See who leads this lap. It might be K Tellier. Depending on whose pit stall is past the start-finish line, Flickinger's wasn't. And yes, Tellier does get the point for leading that lap. Kind of interesting, Charles Sandfer came to pit road the lap before. His two teammates coming to pit road this time. Sandfer came in lap 20, or 19 I should say. His teammates coming in lap number 20. And it looks like Johnny Gardner is going to be the first car off pit road of this group. Ahead of Flickinger, K Tellier, Keith Batson, and then a battle there side by side between Jessica Shelton and Emmanuel Hartnett. So how much fuel did they get into that 96 car, and is it going to be enough to get him to the finish? Very fast pit stop for Johnny Gardner. Go or go home driver. Would love to be able to become the second go or go home driver to win a race here in Hersheys Cup Series. The only one up to this point that has done it was John Bunnell back at yet another super speedway, and that was at Bermuda. So after this thing cycles around, Johnny Gardner should be the race leader, and we'll try and give you a full field rundown as all drivers up to this point have made their pit stops and should be good to go for the finish. Gardner crosses the line, and he is indeed the race leader. Second place would be Zach Flickinger, I believe. Benjamin Miles crossed in third. Sandfer's in fourth. Fifth, J Arndt, and sixth is Anthony McCrury. Seventh, K Tellier. Teammate Keith Batson would be eighth. Shelton now ninth, and Mathews moves to 10th as Hartnett falls to 11th. Gallighan's in 12th. Hudson 13th. 14th, Ciculli. 15th, Richardson. And 16th is Garrett Sidner. 17th is Fitzwater. 18th, Baskinger. 19th, Norman. 20th, Cody Hagan. 21st is Jake Moss. 22nd would be Daniel Gilbert. 23rd, Blaine Keys. 24th is Cody Llamas, I believe. I don't know if Chris Dodd's back on the lead lap or not. Yes, he is actually. He's in 23rd. Now loses the spot to Cody Llamas, who I believe now moves to 23rd position. And now here comes Chris Dodd to pit road. So he could not make it. Remember, he came to pit road a couple laps earlier than these drivers since he had an issue. So Cody Llamas crossing the line in 24th. Tim Walsh would now be 25th. 26th for Levi McIntyre. Carson Scott in 26th. Or, I'm sorry, 27th, I believe. Yeah, 27th, sorry. 28th would be Joshua Michaels. 29th, Dylan Poteet. 30th, John Andrews. 31st place, Cole Baker. He dropped back. 32nd is James McLeod. 33rd is under contest between Brandon Gonzalez and Daniel Voyles. 35th place is J.T. Bryant. 36th, Trent Dunham. Boy, he dropped way back here too, did Trent. 38th is L Alvarise. 39th place, that is Joseph Srigley. 40th place would be McIntosh. And wait a minute. No, wait, hold on a second. I'm a little confused here. Is Chris Dodd actually running ahead of these guys? Chris Dodd, I thought, was a lap down. It should be 38th, 39th, 40th, and 41st right here. Chris Dodd, I thought, was 42nd. Maybe he's not, as Benjamin Miles goes to the lead. Let's see where Chris Dodd scored now. No, Chris Dodd got his pit stop done, and nope. Now he dropped to 42nd, a lap down. Okay. We were just waiting for the scoring monitor to update itself. So still, we have 41 drivers on the lead lap, but that may not last long because Benjamin Miles, Charles Sandfer, and company, they are about to catch up to drivers on the tail end of the lead lap in this group. Haas, McIntosh, Young, and Srigley. Now right now, it's just the top 6 up here in this group. Jessica Shelton in 7th is about 2.7 seconds back, but if this group here gets held up by the drivers here in the group on the tail end of the lead lap, it could allow 7th on back to maybe reel them in. As Benjamin Miles going to drive it to the inside, and he'll put rookie Matt Haas down a lap. Charles Sandfer following in line. This is where we could start to see some lead changes take place, and whoa! Charles Sandfer getting shuffled out of line by J Arndt. Sandfer going to lose 2nd, 3rd, maybe more unless he can tuck down right in front of Matt Haas. He's got to get clear on Flickinger first. Then you got McCrury and Johnny Gardner back there as well. They got to work their way through traffic first too. And now J Arndt trying to jump to the high side using Dylan Young as a pick. Not going to work. Miles hangs on to the top position. Benjamin Miles was a two-time winner last season. Actually, no, he wasn't. He was a three-time winner last season. Bristol Dirt, Coca-Cola Speedway, and Indianapolis were the tracks he went to victory lane there. And give me a second, and I could actually probably find out for you how many wins he... I keep saying he was a two-time winner back in Season 1. I can actually double-check that and see if I am correct in that assumption. I think. Yes, I can. And in Season 1, Benjamin Miles was... Oh, he was only a one-time winner. I thought he was a two-time winner. He only had one win back in Season 1. That was at Kentucky. But he's just lost the lead here to Zach Flickinger. And Flickinger may lose the lead here to Anthony McCrury. Well, he tucks down in front. And now this has brought that second group up into the mix again. There's Hudson, there's Shelton, Mathews, Garrett Sidner, Ciculli, Batson. I think that was Norman up in this group now. So we got ourselves a battle for the win once again with a number of drivers up in this lead pack. That was actually Emmanuel Hartnett that was up here. I thought it was Norman, but it's the 97, K Tellier, also up in this group as they're intermingled with the lap machines. Benjamin Miles going for the lead off of Zach Flickinger, though. And we've got a total of 4 laps to go here at Daytona. Zach Flickinger winning last season at Dubai. And I believe, I want to say it was Lime Rock in Season 1 that he won, and that is indeed the case. So trying to pick up his third win in 3 seasons. But here comes maybe one of the strongest cars of the evening, Charles Sandfer. Now going to battle with Johnny Gardner for second place. Can Sandfer get himself back up to the front? He's got a teammate not too far back there in K Mathews. But there's a lot of names up here in this front pack that could do something. Nathan Hudson for Anime Racing Team. He's going to go to the inside line. Takes the second position away from Sandfer. Wants more. He'll go to the inside of Miles for the lead going into 1. You got Garrett Sidner up in this group. It's been a tough night already for his teammate Chris Dodd. Early issues forcing him to go a lap down. Even after the cycle of green flag pit stops, Sidner could maybe put a little silver lining in that gray cloud if he can find victory lane. Hudson doing all the mirror driving he can, trying to hold off K Tellier. Tellier, a 2-time winner of the season, wants to go to victory lane for a 3rd time. Drives to the inside of Hudson for the lead. And here comes her teammate Keith Batson to the bottom to help. 2 laps to go here at Daytona. KAB Racing Enterprises, they are out in front, now 1st and 2nd. Shelton now moves to 3rd. Then you got Ciculli. Ciculli's on that inside line. Could he do something in the closing stages? Tellier trying to give the outside line some help there. Her teammate Keith Batson getting freight train now as Shelton moves into 2nd. And it'll be the white flag this time. K Tellier the leader. Shelton into 2nd. Ciculli now moving into 3rd. Here comes Shelton for the lead. And she gets to the left rear. White flag displayed. Side by side at the line. Shelton down low. Tellier up high. You got a car of Lee and Alvarise up ahead. Could play a factor. I don't know for certain. And Ciculli gets a big run there through 1 and 2. He'll take 2nd from K Tellier. Can he reel in Shelton and make a move down here into 3? Slower cars ahead. Alvarise, Dunham, and they are catching them. Shelton going to drive to the inside of Lee and Alvarise. Makes the move there. Oh, look at Ciculli. Almost gets run up into Lee and Alvarise. Shelton caught behind Trent Dunham. Here comes Ciculli. Can Ciculli make a move? Shelton takes away the low line. Moves to the inside of Dunham. Ciculli tries the middle line. Can't do it. Jessica Shelton wins here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Man, that got close there at the end. Ciculli thought about splitting it up the middle, between Shelton and Dunham, but just could not do it. And Jessica Shelton becomes the second Retro Racing Enterprises car this season to go to victory lane. Her last win, Darlington of last season. And she wins here tonight at Daytona International Speedway, and may, with that, have just locked herself up a spot in the chase for the championship. Came into this race 21st in the point standings. And the space in the chase gets smaller and smaller with these first-time winners here in Season 3. Standings should be official. My money would have probably been on her teammate Charles Sandfer winning this race. He seemed to have the strongest car, but Shelton, right place, right time, fought her way up to the front, made the move when necessary, and used the slower traffic to her advantage to hold off Ciculli for the victory. Ciculli will get second. Batson and Tellier, great run for both those drivers in third and fourth. Johnny Gardner, highest finisher of the go-or-go-home drivers, in fifth. Hudson gets sixth. Sidner, another go-or-go-home driver with a solid outing, in seventh. J Arndt will get eighth. Emmanuel Hartnett ninth, and Charles Sandfer 10th. All three of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars finish in the top 11, with Mathews finishing in 11th spot. Miles gets 12th. Flickinger 13th, 14th for McCrury. And Baskinger, we never really talked much about that 59. He gets 15th place here tonight. Last week's winner, Richardson, gets 16th. Gilbert in 17th, highest finishing rookie. Michael Norman gets 18th. Jake Moss gets 19th. And Sean Gallighan, Daytona 500 winner, will finish the day out in 20th. Then Andrews, Cody Llamas, Dylan Poteet, Tim Walsh, and Zachary Fitzwater. That was your top 25. Carson Scott, Cody Hagan, pole sitter Joshua Michaels back in 28th. Levi McIntyre in 29th, and James McLeod in 30th. And then Cole Baker, Brandon Gonzalez, J.T. Bryant, and Blaine Keys were the last cars to finish on the lead lap. 34 cars officially finishing this race on the lead lap. All the rest of these drivers finished a lap down. Trent Dunham, Matt Haas, L Alvarise, Joseph Srigley, Dallas McIntosh, Dylan Young, Chris Dodd, and Daniel Voyles. So that is going to do it here from Daytona. Jessica Shelton putting her name into the equation of maybe getting a spot in this chase for the championship. Now the only Retro Racing Enterprises car to go to victory lane still is Charles Sandfer to have all three of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars in the chase for the second straight season. Not sure where we're going next week. I think, if I remember correctly, I think we're going possibly to Dubai. I'm not sure. Gotta look at my schedule and find out where we are going officially. But anyway, you'll find out the same time we do. I believe we've got the Almond Joy Series next week as well. They've still got one more off week to take, but it's not going to happen next week, I don't believe. So, hope you'll tune in next week for wherever we go for Almond Joy and Hersheys Cup Series action. Again, congratulations Jessica Shelton on the win here tonight. If you enjoyed this race, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We'll show you your full finish results once again, down through 42nd place. And your point standings are coming up right after this, as you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. Good night from Daytona.